One of the things that I have continued to say since 1993 is that we are the largest city in Oklahoma without 4-lane access. Many people are shocked to hear that because they look at us as a really progressive town and a town that has many things that towns of greater population even don't have. And so they're shocked that we've done as much as we have without that.
There are many roads leading into and out of Ada, Oklahoma, and none of them are wider than 2 lanes. This lack of 4-lane access has long been a hobgoblin for promoters of progress, and these community leaders have struggled for many years to bring it to Ada.
It's amazing to me that we've been able to do as much as we have with economic development in Ada without the benefit of a 4-lane road. 4-lane access opens you up to really being a distribution center. I know Pauls Valley's been very successful with that, with the Walmart distribution center sitting right on I-35. It's been a wonderful thing for them. There would be no reason that we couldn't be open to that type of a market with that type of road, because we'd be able to move raw materials in, finished product out. We would just be set as far as being able to tap into those markets, both going up toward Tulsa and then down toward Dallas-Fort Worth.
At last, 4-lane access is on the horizon. Dirt is currently being moved on an interchange that will tie the new State Highway 99 to the Richardson Loop on Ada's northwest side. The interchange is just one segment of a massive road construction project that will eventually place Ada on an important north-south route.
This stretch of highway is basically designed to tie into, it was initially programmed to tie into Interstate 44 on the north end and the Chickasaw Turnpike here in Ada as a kind of a north-south route for commerce, and the turnpike eventually ties into I-35, so and eventually that turnpike should become a 4-lane also. So
the new 4-lane 99 highway will take some time to finish, maybe as many as 10 years. But when it is finished, it will intersect with all 3 of Oklahoma's busy interstates. It will begin at Stroud and travel south through Interstate 40 at Seminole, down through Ada, and then tie into Interstate 35 at Davis.
I think it's that the hookup between I-40 and I-35 is going to be more important than most people realize at this point. It was the dream of Neil McCaleb, who was a former Secretary of Transportation, that this corridor be completed. What is happening now with traffic that goes from Tulsa to Oklahoma City and then on to Dallas is that there is a huge congestion at the crossroads of I-35 and I-40, and it's way overloaded in Oklahoma City. If of that traffic that's coming out of Tulsa could be diverted at Stroud and sent on its way south, past Ada, past Davis, and then hooked back in to I-35 that far south, it would alleviate a lot of the congestion and wear and tear that's now going on at that crossroads in Oklahoma City, and would help the traffic flow more smoothly. The other thing that we have to consider is that as I-35 picks up the traffic with the NAFTA corridor, we're going to see that more and more towns along the I-35 corridor as far away as 35 to 40 miles east and west of it, and that would definitely include Ada, are going to see massive things happen to them over the next 30 years or so. It's not going to be overnight, but as time goes along, we're going to see that new transportation arteries are developed like we've never seen before in order to accommodate the traffic that's going to happen. And it's not going to be just from Tulsa to Fort Worth, Dallas. It's going to be traffic that's coming from Canada to Mexico.
The addition of a 4-lane highway is expected to remove a considerable roadblock to economic development in Ada. In fact, the desire for economic growth is a major reason why the project has finally been set in motion.
The idea for 99 obviously was going on for about the last 15 to 20 years. There's been talk about expanding the economic base for the community, and basically that's how most projects get started and how this one ultimately got funded.
Now that a new 4-lane highway is in the works, some of Ada's leaders have already started thinking about future economic development.
I think it's certainly an important piece of the puzzle. Having a 4-lane is something that I just think that we can't do without and continue to compete with the markets that we're up against for attracting industry and jobs to our area. Any business that's looking to locate or relocate, of course, wants as much traffic going past their front doors as they can possibly get. And it would just make sense that we see possibly motels, convenience stores, gasoline stations, things of that nature, and maybe even industry that would want to locate in a close proximity just for exposure. So I think that we'll see new growth along that corridor. We definitely should see it.
Construction on the new 99 highway is divided into numerous contracts, meaning there are several smaller projects going on at the same time up and down the corridor between Ada and Stroud. The main idea is to complete the highway in a reasonable time frame.
There's multiple contracts, but for the Pontotoc and Ada area, there are basically 5 contracts. And the reason they chop them up or make them small is basically to improve the competition and basically not have the same contractor working on that same corridor. So we try to keep the workload spread around. Obviously that's just an economic decision and also a funding issue. So, most of our major corridors, particularly when you're talking about economic development, we do everything that is possible to get as much of the work completed, i.e. the phasing or different projects that we were talking about earlier. So try to get as much done as we can and keep it still uniform and not compromise safety or quality and things of that nature.
The positive thing is the highway is on track, but there is always a question of funding. As long as funding is available, work will continue. But with the state of Oklahoma facing a budget crisis, the possibility that highway construction can be temporarily halted still exists.
There will be some times, obviously based on the funding issue, that parts of the work will sit and be incomplete until the funding is worked out or programmed to be done in that fiscal year. We are working on plans just north of Prague to do 2 new bridges that are off on an old alignment, so they're set for approximately 6 or 7 months, and then we'll start a surfacing project in that area too. So it's going to be sequenced in and phased in just like we're doing now.
Sometimes there's just not money to get it done, but if you keep your project on the front burner, when money is available, then you're able to get a move on your project.
Each of the phases will tie together as they are completed, and each segment of highway will be constructed of either concrete or asphalt, depending on how each of the contracts was approved.
We have concrete in certain areas. We just completed about a 3-mile section of concrete pavement in Seminole, just north of Seminole on 99. There's a concrete intersection and some concrete paving in Prague. The new interchange is all concrete, and about a half a mile of PC pavement going to the north of 99, and new PC pavement going into town, into Ada, the city limits. And but in between, I would say 80% of it's going to be asphalt and the remainder will be concrete.
Those who have worked hard on obtaining 4-lane access throughout this corridor aren't as concerned about what kind of materials are being used. They know it has been a long, hard battle to win the highway, and they are happy it is finally being built.
In all of the articles and the things, all of the records that I was able to search back through, probably more than 25 years altogether that people have been working on this. I was fortunate enough to be acquainted with Mr. Hugh Warren, who worked on this for a number of years with people back at ODOT when Bobby Green was there, and that goes back quite a number of years. And he worked with people all up and down Highway 99, all the way through Prague and Stroud, because they were interested in this and thought that if they could bring a coalition of people together up and down the 99 corridor, that it would just make them to be stronger as a group if they worked together to get this done. We all know that one small town working by itself can't get much, but if you band together and create a coalition, you can do much better.
The communities up and down this corridor have worked together because they all understand there is much to be gained by increased traffic. The new highway will either travel through or nearby most of these communities, creating a vital avenue of commerce.
Right now it goes through Seminole, and Prague. There's somewhat of a offset alignment schedule in Prague, but that hasn't been programmed yet. The only community that it's offset through between here and Stroud right now is it's about a half mile to the actually it's to the west of Ada, like you said. So, but when we get to Ada, we have a connector road at Bing, and obviously the interchange is signed for State Highway 99 and State Highway 1, which goes right through downtown Ada. So,
The fact that the new highway will bypass Ada a little to the west means the current 2-lane 99 should experience less traffic. A new business corridor will be created, but the current one shouldn't suffer too much. There is a lot of traffic destined for Bing and points beyond. That will keep the 2-lane highway full of traffic. When the new 4-lane is finished, motorists will have a choice of north-south routes.
People who live along the current corridor probably feel like they're going to end up with a sort of a dead road over time. I don't really see that happening. I think that we're going to be using all of the arteries, what we have existing as well as what we will have new. And I think that traffic that is just destined for a further location is going to be able to move on past our community and do it in a much safer manner than they would if we were trying to bring them right through town and through stoplights and through local traffic. And I think that this is a solution, not a problem.
A crucial segment of this project will be the Chickasaw Turnpike, which connects State Highway 1 northeast of Roth to State Highway 7 west of Sulphur. This turnpike is currently operated by the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority, but will soon be taken over by the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, which will tie it into the new 4-lane 99 highway.
I feel confident in saying that it's already a priority of ours. We're looking at it before we take on the responsibility of getting it. So that's what we like to see, and I'm sure that's going to be one of our highest priorities is to continue a 4-lane corridor from Dallas to Kansas, if you want to go that way. So not only just for our vacations and travel, but again for economic development.
Because of a lack of 4-lane access, Ada has always been considered a destination point, or only a drive-to location. A lot of people who call Ada home like it that way. Some believe there are benefits to living off the beaten path. When the new 99 is completed, Ada will no longer be just a destination point. It will also be a potential stop on a busy thoroughfare.
But you always have people that are resistant to change, no matter what that change is. You especially have that if they feel like it's going to impact either where they live or their business in some way. I think that there are opportunities here for any type of lifestyle that you want to have. For people who want to have a quieter lifestyle away from that, there's certainly plenty of land still available around here so that you don't have to be near it and have the effects of it. But for those people who want it and need to do business and bring new jobs and growth into this area, I think when people see the benefits of being able to create jobs and that where their children or grandchildren can come and locate back here if they so desire, are going to see that the benefits of it far outweigh any of the things that they think might be detractors.
The new 4-lane highway is a two-way street. Not only will it bring economic growth, which translates into more local jobs, but it will also make it much easier for the people of Ada to safely travel to other cities outside of this area.
I think most people are going to, once it's there and it's up and moving, so to speak, I think they're going to enjoy it much more than they thought they ever would.